Hey, 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 family. Another day to rise and shine. Another day to get up, get out, and get shit done. Push ourselves to do the things that we don't want to do. Push ourselves for ourselves. Another day to get better. So today I'm going to share some information about the progression from healthy living into chemical dependency. How we can not knowingly go from experimenting or using drugs and alcohol recreationally, socially, to eventually becoming dependent on it. It becoming a habit, put it that way. So I'm just going to share it straight from the paperwork that I have. uh, kind of the paperwork that I'm it looks like this. If you haven't. So, the progression from healthy living into chemical dependency. As human beings, we all have the ability to develop healthy, caring, and responsible lives. The quality of our lives is determined by the development of skills in physical health, emotional health, mental health, and spiritual health. And that was that little diagram I just showed you. Each of these areas overlap and blend with all the others. So, areas of health. Physical. In parentheses, it has biological growth and development. And healthy development skills. Eating a balanced diet. Having regular sleeping patterns. Being physically active on a regular basis. Self-care. Illness prevention behaviors. So these are healthy development skills in all 4 of these areas that I just shared, which it says that our quality of our lives is determined by the development of skills in physical health, emotional health, mental health, and spiritual health. So for physical health, the skills that is the quality of our lives is determined by development of these skills in the physical area. Eating a balanced diet. I find that hard to do, hard to stick to. I'm working on it. It's one of the things that I aspire to change and implement. Having regular sleeping patterns. That I struggle with also. But I have watched videos and I've heard information about it's more important for us to set an alarm for what time we should go to bed and stick to it and have a normal bedtime than it is to set an alarm and get up in the morning. But that's something I'm looking into, and I'll work on that when I change the way I see that part of my life, when that area of my life. Being physically active on a regular basis. I go to work every day. Other than that, I'm not too physically active other than going up and down these stairs to do my laundry or stand here in the kitchen and do dishes but it is one of the things that I have as a goal. It is one of the things that I'm aware of and that I know that I could do better at. Self-care. I try to brush my teeth more than once a day. I try to take care of my feet and keep my nails on my feet looking decent. They're not the best. They've been closed up in work boots my whole life. But over the past couple of months, I've been trying to pay attention to my feet. They do have a major role in our health. And illness prevention behaviors. Illness prevention. Okay, so that's physical. Emotional. So feelings management, moving naturally from one mood state to another. That's a skill that if we can develop that, that will determine the quality of our life. Positive conflict resolution. So being able to work through conflicts with people positively, because conflicts are based on emotion. Ability to recognize and express many emotions in an acceptable manner. So, ability to recognize emotions, which is what at least these thinking reports are about, that I'm going to share here in a few videos from now. Getting ready to get that dry erase board or the easel with the flip paper, getting ready to do that because I think it would help me deliver the content better. So the ability to recognize emotions and express many emotions in an acceptable manner, and the ability to understand the feeling of others. Okay, so that's emotional. That's feelings management. Mental is thought processing. So problem solving. If we can develop that skill, problem solving, planning and decision making abilities. So planning, goals, get a written plan down for the foreseeable future. Decision making abilities. So that's also another thing that the thinking reports, the thought records, those are for that, helping with developing that, or you can just dive into some information and learn about it too. But accepting and taking personal responsibility. Rational thinking skills. So that's the rational emotive therapy. So asking yourself a group of questions to see if your thoughts are actually, or your thinking patterns are actually rational. And there's some key questions to ask that could tell you if they are rational or not. So that was physical, emotional, and mental. So spiritual, relationships with self, others, and a personal value system. So personal values, core values, defining our values. Did a few videos on that, guys. And so that is social and intimate relationship skills, communication, being able to understand the feelings of others. So social and intimate relationship skills, having a purpose in life. Goals help us develop purpose. Figuring out what we really want gives us a purpose to shoot for. So basically, we have our long-term goals, short-term goals, but what we want out of life, well, that gives us a purpose to get up every day to work on achieving those goals, building that life that we want. Healthy self-respect. Let's look into that. But healthy self-respect, discipline, values, again, in open communication. So I got something I wrote down here in my own pencil, that psychological dependency is thinking I need to use drugs or alcohol to feel normal and deal with problems. Let's see what we got next on the next page. Mood altering drugs are chemicals, agents that produce changes in brain function by altering or changing chemistry of the brain. A direct result of these changes in the brain chemistry damages, so biopsychosocial. Bio is the body, physical damages in the way of the body functions. Psycho is the mind, psychological changes in how we think and feel. Okay, so that's why I had mentioned that it's probably a very important step that if you are actively using and it's causing problems, so actively using alcohol, drugs, cocaine, heroin, pills, whatever people use these days, it's fucking always some sort of epidemic out here right now. But social, which is relationships, behavior changes in how we act or react. So these are a direct result of these changes in the brain chemistry damages these things. All mood altering substances have the ability to change your thinking, damage the body, and to affect behavior and relationships in a negative way too. That's why we gotta start being aware of our thinking processes, our beliefs, how we see things. And it all depends if you want to improve. And I'm pretty sure most people do want to improve. So all mood altering substances have the ability to change thinking, damage the body, and to affect behavior and relationships, even if they are used socially. The effect and results of these changes are called consequences. Consequences, results, outcomes. Okay? So that's why we can look back on situations or events in our life, and as part of the thinking report. So I was thinking in the thinking report, we look at, okay, somebody would be like, I think we should look at it from the consequences. So something that we're going through that we don't desire to go through, it's undesirable to us, right? And then we would be like, okay, what's the situation that made that happen, right? But I was thinking today, and I was like, wait, let's go to, so the actions made the consequence happen. The feelings and the thoughts made the actions happen. And those feelings and thoughts came from our beliefs and the way we see things about the situation, the event, or the presentation of facts that we encountered. Okay? Hopefully you guys are grasping this. I mean, it's a lot to take in. If it's something that's new to you, I mean, it takes a while to grasp it, but I think it's eye-opening. We can change anything about ourselves if we put the effort in. We do not have to stay the way we are. We don't have to live a dysfunctional, unhappy, unfulfilled life, living paycheck to paycheck, having unhealthy relationships, arguing, bickering, communication skills, and So the extent of the consequences. So we said the effect and results of these changes, mood altering substances have the ability to change our thinking, damage the body, and affect behavior and relationships, even if they are used socially. The effect of these results is called consequences. Okay, the extent of the consequences depends on, and I got a star by that, what, who, and why. That's A, B, and C. And it's the substance used, the person using the substance, and the reason the person is using the substance, right? So the substance that's used, different substances have special or specific effects on specific areas of the body. That's what, who, the person using the substance, genetically predisposed or ill health. So the extent of the consequence depends on the person using, and it says genetically predisposed or ill health. And then C was the why, the reason the person is using the substance, medical necessity or abuse of substance. If the substance use is medicinal, which is prescribed by a physician and taken accordingly, then the consequence is necessary for the system to function normally. That's crazy, isn't it? If the substance used is medicinal and is prescribed by a doctor and used accordingly, then the consequence is necessary for the system to function properly. Reasons people use alcohol and drugs. Psychosocial reasons. Thinking / mind and relationships. So this is, okay, I got the psychosocial, the physical. Okay, so A, people use substances to feel good. I had psychosocial reasons, and I had a circle and a line drawn over it, and it says to fit in. So psychosocial reasons, thinking, mind, and relationships. To fit in, I put. A, people use substances to feel good. B, because other people do. C, because they think it helps them to belong. And D, peer pressure. As you get older, you don't hear that word peer pressure much, but peer pressure isn't just for us being young and hanging out with friends and being in high school and middle school. And peer pressure carries on through an entire life. So those are the psychosocial reasons. The physical reasons that people use alcohol and drugs. Body begins to develop a tolerance to the drugs and alcohol. It takes more of the drug to produce the same effect to attempt to function normal. See, it starts to build a habit. All right, now I got how above this written. Tolerance is progressive and usually advances in stages. First, your body begins to have trouble with the substance when you first ingest it, cough or a sick feeling. Then, as the body and the brain chemistry begin to adapt and minimize the effects of the substance, your body requires more of the substance to reach the high that you desire. Lastly, if you ingest enough of the substance, the body cannot detoxify fast enough or not at all, and it may take less amounts of the substance to reach into intoxication. The central nervous system is a system of organs that communicate within our body. This communication process involves biochemical reactions that take place continuously. The central nervous system regulates these reactions through an active system and a relaxant. So an action system and a relaxing system. The two nervous systems balance each other. Different types of substances have different effects on the central nervous system. So it starts to throw us all off whack, man, creating different paths up in our brain. And I'm not a neurosurgeon, not even a counselor or a therapist. Just okay. That was all right. Depressants. Go on depressants. Depressants temporarily turn off the action message. Okay. Chill, Jay. Chill. Hope you guys are grasping this. This is crucial information if you're trying to change self-defeating behaviors of being an active drug and alcohol abuser. If you have gotten into the habit of habitually going to the bar, habitually drinking all the time, doing cocaine because you get drunk, whatever your drug of choice it might be. It could be activities too. It could be sex. It could be all types of shit, man. But depressants temporarily turn off the action messages so only the relaxing messages get to the brain. And depressants are alcohol, barbiturates, and minor tranquilizers. Stimulants temporarily turn off the relaxing messages so only the active and alert messages get to the brain. Nicotine, so smoking, what I am trying to become tobacco free. I am working on it. I am taking small steps and I'm accomplishing that. Caffeine. I know I drink way too much coffee, that's for sure. But I get caffeine headaches if I don't drink. So, like it was saying, the tolerance in the body builds, and caffeine, next thing you know, I'm going to drink coffee all day. I gotta maintain that, drinking that coffee all day in order for not to get headaches. And so I had to slowly wean myself off of that down to a manageable level, 1 a.m. But anyway, I'm not working on caffeine right now. Cocaine and amphetamines, those are stimulants. It took me, this is what I wrote down, it took me a long time to overcome the denial that kept me from recognizing the negative consequences of my cocaine use. Okay, that's me. That's what I wrote. I used to abuse cocaine, powder, crack cocaine, smoking it, freebasing, whatever you want to call it. Smoking cocaine. You can snort it, you can shoot it, you can. I never shot it. I've never intravenously used drugs, but that increases your tolerance even more, man. But narcotics. Opiates are used for pain relief because they block or substitute chemicals in the nervous system. Opium, heroin, morphine, codeine. I could say fentanyl in that one. Um, Ketamine, um, benzodiazepines. I would say all of that stuff's in there. That's just stuff that it's not in here, but I've learned it. Hallucinogens. So hallucinogens like mushrooms, acid, but overstimulate. So hallucinogens overstimulate the action messages, and turn off the relaxing messages so that messages are distorted and difficult for the brain to understand. This can cause hallucinations as the brain tries to interpret the many messages. So cannabis, weed, marijuana, PCP and LSD, peyote, and psilocybin mushrooms. I'm sure that's shrooms, hallucinogenic mushrooms. As people continue to use mood-altering substances. Now remember, guys, this is the progression from healthy living into chemical dependency. Okay, this is kind of introducing what these certain different drugs are, what they do to your body and your brain messages, and how it comes about that all the next thing you know, years have gone by and we are habitually using, and the consequences have gotten out of control, and we've been participating in self-defeating behaviors and ruining our life. But as people continue to use mood-altering substances, the body, mind, and social development are changed. In time, a substance user will begin to experience consequences, and I wrote negative, from the changes that are taking place. If a social user recognizes the consequences, and I wrote negative, they will stop or moderate their use. Because consequences are not, I don't believe that's just a negative. That's just like the outcome or the result. It can be a positive consequence, I think. I'll have to look up that word now just to make sure that it is both positive and negative. But anyway, if a social user recognizes the consequences, they will stop or moderate their use. Social users, unlike addicts or habitual users or um, abusers, you know, that word used to get me all the time. Addict. You know, I don't think I abused it, and it was habitual, and I believe it is with most people. It just becomes a habit, and it becomes a psychological habit more than anything. At least with me. Okay, so social users, unlike addicts, have the ability to use moderately if they choose to do so because there is not a loss of control or impaired control. They will then redevelop the healthy biopsychosocial abilities that were damaged. I think that's all of us. We all socially use, and then it just becomes a habit. It has a lot to do with the circle of people you hang around, a lot to do with your environment, for sure. Okay, so in order for substance use to progress into addiction, there must be a mechanism that prevents the person from seeing or acknowledging the reality of the consequences they are experiencing and are causing to others. That mechanism is denial. So, in order for substance use to progress into addiction, there must be a mechanism that prevents that person from seeing or acknowledging the reality of the consequences they are experiencing and are causing to others. That mechanism is denial. Denial or delusion is the unconscious mechanism. So it's unconscious. It's not in our conscious mind. That must be in our subconscious mind. Like I said, where all of our habits and all of our decision patterns and all that is stored at. Our mental program. So, denial or delusion is the unconscious mechanism of the human system preventing a substance user from the reality of the consequences of their substance use. Denial/delusion blocks motivation for positive change or recovery by hiding the painful reality of life caught in a cycle of addiction. A person caught up in the progression of addiction will use defenses to avoid taking responsibility of their chemical use. Defenses are natural and usually effective ways to deal with everyday situations. As the disease of addiction progresses, the abuser, the habitual user, okay, however you want to categorize it, if it's causing negative consequences, negative outcomes, negative results, and our life has become unmanageable, our financial life become unmanageable, our employment life has become unmanageable, our ability to be able to drive legally has become unmanageable. Those are the things that affected me, that I was in denial about, that I was delusional about, that I thought was normal just because it was what I saw. Everybody drove without license, everybody drank. Even though there was negative consequences, everybody continued to get together and do it. It was okay, it was accepted. So defenses are natural and usually effective ways to deal with everyday situations. As the disease of addiction progresses, the addict will develop rigid defense reactions that become destructive. Some of the more common defenses are blaming, minimizing, generalizing, verbalizing, complying, agreeing, withdrawing, and threatening and switching. And then I wrote under here, I don't know what it is, but addict, no control over substance use, continues to use regardless of negative consequences. That was from up top. So blaming, minimizing, generalizing, verbalizing, complying, agreeing, withdrawing, threatening, and switching. Let's see what this, if it gives a little definition on those. Nope, the addiction cycle. So this is the cycle. It kind of looks like this. All right.